Hey everyone, how you doing today? Thought I would show you what I've been doing the last couple days here. I didn't get as much done as I would have liked though, for sure. So on the challenge, I have decided I'm gonna try to do something from Xcaliber, and I kind of screwed up my first attempt. So this is something that I brought in from his workshop that I thought was a pretty cool design, and thought I would kind of recreate that. Well, as you can see, this thing over here, kind of a bungled approach. I had the game screw up on me yet again, too, when I was moving a thruster housing around and chopping the ship apart to make it bigger. I went to go copy and paste something, and it screwed up, and then I forgot to save it prior to that, so I lost like a chunk of the engine. When I was kind of going for the look or color scheme of Excalibur's newer type creations in the process. But without saying much more here, let me fly way over here. I did actually get this ship kind of finished up on the exterior, and it's a combat ship, and it's kind of colored and styled around Excalibur's theme. Um, the problem I've got is I made so many liberties on the recreation of the ship. It was intended to be that it's nearly unrecognizable to the original ship. In fact, it doesn't really look anything much like it. I started a little bit with the same uh, blocks and angles at the front, but then I took some liberties and changed an angle over here, and I wanted a first-person cockpit and changed the front and changed the back and changed this. And basically, I did so much that it's not the same thing anymore. So I'm going to start again with something else on it, but I did keep it, and I transitioned it to the standard Merc color scheme, and this is probably going to end up being the Merc MX-11 um, new Merc ship. It's been a long time since I put out a Merc ship of any type, so I think that'll be kind of cool. Although, kind of sidetracked me from doing everything else I was working on, and now I got to do it again. Um, but it's cool. It's cool. As in some other things too on the Merc ships. It's been a while since I looked at them, and I kind of spawned some in so I could kind of reorientate myself to the color scheme that I've been normally doing on these ships. And as I was spawning it, I did realize here too that I do have a A11 version of the MX-12. But I never have updated the blueprint on the workshop to it because I'm annoyed with it. And this is that ship. Um, from the original one, it used to have some thrusters here in the sides. Not a big deal. I can make that work okay, but I pulled those thrusters out to save on CPU. It also used to have some thrusters, obviously, back over here. This one annoys me because I built these big thruster housings to house those thrusters, and now I had to pull the thrusters out of the ship. I also had some thrusters down here, which I removed. um, and on the interior, too, um, well, I removed a constructor that used to be, I think, in this area somewhere. Thought this had more than one constructor in it. But anyway, with all those changes, all the RCS removed, and everything else, I'm still over on CPU. And that's leaving the only constructor it has in it. Even if I get rid of that, it's not enough yet. Like, for instance, there, and I'm still at 103. So basically, I sort of just kind of gave up on it and didn't continue anymore trying to get this redone for Alpha 11, which kind of sucks. And I'm still at the same situation. That's why I haven't ever put this out or updated the ship. And this would apply for anything bigger than the MX-12 as well. The MX-14, the 15, I did manage to actually get it updated at some point, but I don't think it's updated to 11. I think I got it updated to Alpha 10. The CPU, I think, kills it as well. And then, of course, the 18 is just, there's no hope. So that's kind of why I haven't updated a lot of the Merc ships. Now I could update some of the smaller ones, and I have updated the MX1, I believe the MX2, MX5. I haven't looked at the MX9s yet, or the MX9R and the regular one. I think the MX10 I did update at one point, but not to A12 or not to A11, up to A10 I think, or maybe I didn't update it, something like that. But anyway, yeah, the problem I've got is these ships were just too big for the CPU, especially like on the 12. It's just, I mean, it's a heavier ship. It needed a lot of thrust power to move all the weight, a couple layers or more in some places of the hardened steel. So that kind of really kind of screwed it up. So obviously on newer SVs, I'm just not going to ever try to make anything as big or as powerful as these ones. Well, maybe as powerful, but just not as big. So that's kind of where I'm at on that, and that's why I've just not updated so many things. Now this ship, I think, could it fits well into the scheme of things. It's actually quite low on CPU how it sits, even though I got all the thrusters installed. I don't have a shield and stuff installed yet, but I've got a lot of CPU room. I tried to make this originally at tier 3, and then I gave up on that as well too. I would have had to reduce everything so much to make it kind of not worthwhile to add a tier 3. I wouldn't have been able to pop in a shield or have to remove most all the guns or whatnot. This is a hardened steel ship as well. Plans on it would be to have a secure cockpit inside as well as a first-person cockpit. Now, I do like interior cockpits with like the glass front, but this design just does not work well for that. Even if I were to build a glass section here, another logistical problem is how do you get there from inside the ship at an elevated position, which would require me to build a big ramp, filling up most of the interior with a ramp, because there's no steps or, actually, there is no stairs or anything for a SV or a ladder or elevators or any other way to get up there. So I think in this case, I'm going to go with the standard armored cockpit, which is actually a lot stronger than the glass to start with. And being up so high in the design, having all this bulk front here, I think it would still be relatively hard to hit, maybe from a POI. We'll see. But this is another little side project that I didn't really intend on building, but it just came out that way. So I'm gonna be looking over Xcaliber's workshop some more and try to find something else, or maybe try this again. Now on the original one too, this one is bigger than the MX-11 over there, and it's a very, very tough ship. But I ran into some things I didn't quite realize about it too, and that is that, I mean, well, CPU wise, it's way, way, way over, and I don't think this one could be salvaged. I think it would have the same issues I have with the MX-12, that it's just no matter what I do, it's just too much ship to make it CPU compliant, I guess. On this one too, when I was digging in here, I noticed that it has a whole lot of buried thrusters, a lot of them, and so I'd have to redesign the ship anyway, so all the thrusters would be exposed. It wouldn't need this many, of course, but that's how this ship was done. But this was done in a time frame a lot different, where we didn't have CPU or any of this, and this is totally legit build. At the time, it works. I'm sure it would destroy most SVs I've built to date, as it's a bigger, tougher ship. Now with me also too, when I was doing this, I was like, man, I don't want to build a SV that's only third person. I've done that with 2 tanks, but it's not my preference. I do like to have first person, and typically when I build a tougher ship, I try to have a first and third person cockpit. I understand that the first person cockpits are not as tough and it would be more vulnerable if you got into serious combat. But I do like being able to fly a ship in first person. So with tanks, I still kind of like to have the option for first person on a tank, but I find it not quite as desirable, I guess, as what these are. So there is that. Now, on another thing, I did work on the space carrier a little bit more too, just on a very specific area of the ship. Well, I did a little bit more. Oh, also on the last video too, I showed the pool, and I think that every person said to keep the pool. So the pool is staying. I'll probably try to even make it a little prettier down there, but the pool is going to stay in the ship. Because, yeah, it's like, what else am I going to put there anyway? And yeah, it's a swimming pool. I mean, come on, this thing's kind of like it's a big carrier slash city, and it's got a lot more than just ship function stuff, because, well, there's only so much function you can get into something. So what I've done over here, now, a while back, Xcaliber's, this was his area, and it was a brig. Basically, he laid out a lot of this area with how some cells are set up and stuff like that. So I've just been kind of going in here, and I kept everything that he had. I colored it and textured it and stuff like that, and I added a little bit more to the area. I'm still working on this area. I got to fill up this room here. I added some general like holding cells for more people. So there's a couple holding cells along the side over here, and another like holding area over here now as well. And yeah, I got to keep working this area. So I did put a little bit of time into trying to get this all revved up and whatnot. One of the things that I made it kind of tough for the authors that got assigned these rooms over here is the fact that I've got this big on the front facing of the hangar, this big angled section, which I thought was pretty cool. You know, where it's all like the same thing, but it really makes it a nightmare because of how things color on the outside. It affects the inside. Like, for instance, how these blocks are set up, they don't have separate textures on the front and the top here. So, like, say if I take this block and color it like this, then that comes through on the inside. So that doesn't usually match what's on the inside, so it makes it kind of rough. And what I've been doing to try to deal with that is I had to color parts of the floor in here to match that outer color, and then I'm trying to get like some different colored carpet and stuff in here. But I'm still working on it. Again, at nighttime too, these things do look different, and I'm trying to tweak out the lighting and get it right. So you kind of got that a little bit darker look, obviously, but I'm experimenting with the idea of trying to get in some cooler lights, or like these bluer lights in here and there. But I'm not sure if I like the blue look better, or if I switch this over to gray, which is the other light color that I've been using. I guess they both work. Depends if you like that cooler look or not. Like, in not cool wise. Well, whatever. I'm just gonna shut up. So that's kind of where I've been at on that. I haven't worked on the POI anymore yet. The fifth POI. And I plan on getting back to that too. But right now I'm going to be probably scouring over Xcaliber's workshop, seeing what else I could take a look at and kind of recreate for the challenge. Now, a couple other things too. Another author has helped me out with doing something that I kind of wanted to do. I made mention on the last video that I would love to have like another account so I could record like when I'm doing these like high-speed videos of building like this Creel space station, which I haven't done anything more with yet, but that's coming. where I could have like a camera position and be able to record me just like running around building all this, and then put it in like a really high speed video, but the camera's still, and you can see kind of what's going on and see it being built and like process at maybe even a 10x speed or something like that. So I'm now set up for that, and I got a second PC loaded with the OBS Studio, which I record these videos with, and set up with another account and tested that I can link on the two games. The only problem I've got right now is I cannot control the lighting on the planets, because it's even if I put in like a different time code, like you can say I say time 7000, it'll change the time of day. But on the server side, because it would be a server, because they're both linked together, it automatically reverts back to whatever time it was, and I don't know how to exactly get around that. Or I could just take it up to space and build it in space, but then it's darker and it's a little harder to see. So it's not a big deal, and I thought I could even kind of work through like day and night, and maybe set up some kind of spotlight over the area or something at night, so you can kind of see what's going on. But that might, I've seen this kind of thing done a lot in Minecraft, on YouTube build videos and stuff like that. In fact, they've got some really cool mods and technology to have the camera constantly scrolling as they're building, which is so cool. We don't have that capability in Empryion to do that, but I don't think I've seen any high-speed build videos done in this manner yet. So I'm gonna try, and we'll see how this all turns out when I get cranking on this one. Today I got some things to do, but I should get some time, a few hours later today, to work on some projects. But right now I kind of want to get this Xcaliber challenge wrapped up, and I thought I was well on my way until I decided that I thought this was just too different from what I was looking for, compared to what I was going on the original. I took too many liberties. And well, that's the thing too. I also knew that if I try to build it at the original size it wasn't gonna work with CPU. So I will try to find something else that would work out better. And we'll go from there. As in this one, yeah, I'll get the interior built up for this one at some point here too, and release a new Merc after, like, God, I don't know when the last new Merc was released. Probably, I don't even want to guess, 5-6 months ago, maybe. I think it was like the MX-12 was the last Merc that I put to the workshop, the last one I built. So 11 was open, and this just happens to fit perfectly at about 11, where it's a little bit bigger than the 10, not as big as the 12, so good fit and unused number. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, and I'll keep cranking away at stuff, and some more with this space station pretty soon too, and more with the carrier. Yeah, like I said, I keep on, once in a while here, every other day or so, 8 o'clock at night, I'll be like, hey, let's put in a couple hours on the carrier, and I'll just keep on doing that until I can get this thing eventually done. Now, I was looking at areas that I need to do yet, and obviously I think I showed the bridge the last time, and then I was working on a bunch of rooms up in this area here that are not finished yet. So yeah, this area here is left. The bridge, it's a pretty big area here. What other vacant rooms do I have here? Let me get all the way back down here. I've got this whole floor over here, which was supposed to be security, so I'll look into that one. This area down here was actually already done by Bullet Bagnet, and this was the hospital section. Now, one thing I'm going to be doing too, before it's all done, is I'm going to just try to dial in some of the other authors' areas a little bit to get them to blend in a little bit more with the MCR, but of course leave all the architecture, layout, and things like that. So basically, a little bit of color and texture changes, but like the hospital area is going to remain white. I do like that variety. It's something I've kind of figured out with the Acepolis, that I kind of like having that variety and distinction, where everything that I've done so far is that same orange and gray dark kind of theme. Like every part of the ship that I've done is this way. So having a little variety in is a good thing too. I'm just going to try to dial in some of the colors so one isn't excessively bright or something over a different one, so it just blends in a little bit better. And also a light reduction. Some areas had a lot of lights, and I found that I don't like to run quite as many lights as that. They can look nice, no doubt, but a lot of times by playing with the settings on a light, like increasing the radius or the like the what's the variable I'm even looking for? Here, let me find a light. Jeez, man, brain fart. And let me get on this light here. Ah, spot angle. Spot angle is what I meant. By adjusting your intensity, your range, and your spot angle, you can make a light do a lot more lighting, I guess. So I tend to try to do that with most of my stuff, so I don't have to run as many lights. Lights are really bad for size class, but I can't say, because of how they fade away at a distance, that I've really experienced performance problems with them. To be honest, I thought I was, and before I was complaining pretty severely at the performance I was getting on this carrier when it was spawned, especially in the atmosphere. But I have noticed that things seem to be smoother now than they were when I last really looked at that. So a problem I've got with lighting though in the hangar, and I'll show you the example of that here, is check this out. It looks like it's completely pitch black over there, like there's no lights whatsoever, until you go this way. And then you see that there actually is lights here, but they just fade away at the distance across the hangar. And that is something that I'm going to have to live with, because there's absolutely no way I can illuminate these areas across the hangar because the lights fade away before you get there. It's just such a big space that you're not going to see those lights until you're closer. And that is, well, it's just going to have to be the way it is. There is absolutely no way around it. I will put lights in the hangar, of course, and you'll see them when you're close, but it's just going to look like they're off when you're across the hangar. And that kind of leads me to the thing, do I even want to bother trying to put all these hangar lights on a huge sensor array, which would take a lot of stuff? I mean, the power savings is almost not noticeable whatsoever, having the lights off. And it won't really matter anyway, because you're not going to be able to see the lights all the way across the hangar until you're closer anyway. So there is that issue. That is something I was always thinking about on this carrier design too. It was kind of bugging me. I was hoping, well, I don't know what I was thinking. I wanted to build a really big ship. I think that was the deal. So that's about it for today. And if you got any quick suggestions too on Xcaliber stuff, there's a lot of this stuff I do like, and I've checked out a lot of them in the past. So I'm gonna pick something else, I think, and try to go from that. But I'm gonna try to stay a lot truer to the original, and not do the fiasco I did here with trying to do this one up, but making so many changes that it turned into something completely different. So there is that. Anyway, as usual, stay safe, and I plan on a video tomorrow yet too, so that may be this high-speed video I've been talking about, and we'll see how that comes out. It'll be the first time I've tried to do it this way. It's a little bit more work on my part, you know, running a second PC so I can pull this off, but I think it'd be a better way to do like these big long builds, keeping a solid camera position so there's no issues or trying to figure out what the heck's going on. And also I could increase the speed far more than 3x, which was kind of my limit on what I would do with a high-speed video, because more than that just made it even worse. So we'll see how that turns out. Could be kind of neat. Anyway, see you later all.